JD from NY is one of the most controversial and polarizing figures in the wrestling community right now. He's amassed a wide following and has over 170,000 subscribers on YouTube, and has daily and weekly listeners to his off-the-script show, weekly reviews of Dynamite, Raw and SmackDown, and he is one of the loudest voices in the Twitter and wrestling community as a whole. JD is one of the most outspoken detractors of the current wrestling product, and especially AEW. He's had his run-ins with a lot of the wrestlers today, like Dax Harwood and Ricochet, to name just a few. I watch all wrestling, and admittedly, I do like AEW more than WWE in today's current world. For me, the product is more edgier, more fun, and just more entertaining. WWE, as Bryan Danielson once said, is a parody of pro wrestling at times. They really only focus on the spectacle of the event, which is a lot of the times amazing, but when it comes down to the substance, the in-ring wrestling, and the storytelling, it lacks in plenty of areas. Not to say that AEW doesn't, but JD from NY is one of the most outspoken people on this exact fact. And admittedly, he probably does dislike AEW more than WWE, but I did fall into the trap of looking at clips and looking at headlines from people on Twitter and on YouTube about what he actually said about the events and the weekly shows. But when you actually listen to the substance of what he's saying and look past all the theatrical antics that he does, screaming his head off, swearing his head off, and he does tend to ramp it up a lot more when he's talking about AEW, what he's saying is 100% correct. His whole point is that WWE and AEW lack storytelling. There's no compelling stories, and it's not what it once was. Like I said, admittedly, he is a little bit harder on AEW, which is why I actually didn't like him at first and was going at him a lot on Twitter. But once I actually took the time to look at his shows, look at his reviews, and listen to exactly what he's saying, stripping away all the antics, the crux of his message is 100% right. So my advice, don't fall into the trap of the headlines, the little clips you see on Twitter, and the Twitter wars. Listen to what he's saying, and you'll find that most of the things he says is correct. And it's also all good to disagree with him. To be honest, I disagree with a lot of the things he says and the way he goes about it, especially towards Tony Khan and AEW. However, you can't hate someone for how they deliver the message. That's just how they are. In my opinion, his weekly show that he does, TNT Tuesday Night Titans with Solo Monster, is a lot better than watching his reviews. They review the whole entire week of wrestling together, and he's a little more subdued in this podcast. Although a lot of his takes I think are quite ridiculous and way too over the tops with his antics, his swearing, and everything he talks about, the guy has a huge following, and I can see why. I'm still a fan. You don't have to agree with everything he says, but I would just say to listen to his message, and you'd probably agree.